Maple Ridge, Oregon wasn't the kind of place where people locked their doors at night. Nestled against the edge of a sprawling national forest, it was the type of town where neighbors helped one another shovel snow. Church potlucks filled the weekends, and the biggest local scandal was whether the high school team would finally win state. And in the center of this quiet life stood Travis Decker, a proud father, a loving husband, a Sunday school teacher, and a firefighter. Everyone knew him, everyone trusted him. So when his name came up in connection with a double murder, the town's silence turned to stunned disbelief. It all started on a Friday morning in early spring. The local authorities received a frantic 911 call from a woman who identified herself as Clara Whitman, Travis's neighbor. She'd gone to check on the Decker family after noticing that their home lights had been on all night, and their usually tidy front yard was now scattered with toys and mail. What she found sent chills down her spine. The front door was wide open, and there were clear signs of a struggle inside. Deputies responded within minutes. Inside the Decker home, the scene was pure horror. Travis's wife, Melissa Decker, was found in the kitchen, slumped over the breakfast table with multiple stab wounds. Blood stained the white countertops and streaked the floor. Upstairs, in one of the children's bedrooms, deputies made another gruesome discovery. The couple's two daughters, Emily, age 10, and Sadie, age 7, were both missing. At first, law enforcement assumed a home invasion gone wrong. Melissa's death was brutal, the kind of rage-filled violence that suggests a personal motive. Yet there were no signs of forced entry, and oddly, nothing valuable appeared to have been taken. The family's SUV was still in the driveway. Melissa's purse, Travis's wallet, and the girls' school bags were untouched. Then came the twist that stunned the entire town. Travis Decker was missing, too, and he wasn't answering his phone. Authorities launched a statewide manhunt. Amber alerts were issued for the two girls, and images of Travis were quickly plastered across TV screens and social media. Police told the public to treat Travis as a potential victim, not a suspect. But behind closed doors, investigators weren't so sure. Because when they pulled up Travis's work records, something strange surfaced. According to the fire department, Travis had called in sick the day before the murders. He hadn't shown up to the station in nearly 48 hours. But a neighbor claimed she'd seen him loading something heavy into the back of his truck late that night, and whatever it was had been wrapped in what looked like a blue tarp. Detectives dug deeper. They checked security cameras from nearby gas stations, road cameras, and convenience stores. And that's when they caught their first break. Travis's truck had been spotted heading west toward the Tillamook State Forest, a vast stretch of woods known for its thick underbrush, winding trails, and remote, unmonitored paths. The truck had not been seen returning. Search teams were dispatched. Helicopters scanned the tree canopy while K-9 units combed the underbrush. Days passed. No sign of Travis. No sign of the girls. Then, on the third day, something surfaced from a shallow creek near a popular hiking trail. It was Emily's backpack. Inside were her notebooks, a library card, and a family photo, one that would later become symbolic across the nation. The smiling faces of the Deckers at a 4th of July barbecue, fireworks behind them, completely unaware of the darkness that would come just months later. That night, the sheriff's office made a decision. Travis Decker was no longer a missing person. He was a suspect in the murder of his wife and the abduction of his daughters. The man everyone had trusted, the man who once ran into burning buildings to save lives, was now believed to be a killer on the run. And as the days turned into weeks, a terrifying question echoed across Oregon. What really happened in the woods? And where was Travis now? In the immediate aftermath of the murders, the world saw Travis Decker as the picture-perfect family man. But as investigators dug deeper, that image began to crumble, revealing a much darker truth hiding behind the uniform, the smiles, and the Sunday sermons. The media frenzy around the case exploded. News vans lined the once quiet streets of Maple Ridge, while talking heads debated endlessly on cable news. Was Travis Decker a broken man who snapped, or had he been living a double life all along? Detectives focused first on his digital footprint. They subpoenaed his phone records, internet history, and cloud backups. At first glance, everything looked normal. messages to his wife, school-related emails, even calendar reminders for his daughter's ballet recitals. But buried beneath the surface were red flags, disturbing ones. One account, registered under a pseudonym, was used to browse survivalist forums and encrypted chat rooms. The topics: how to disappear in a forest, leaving no digital trail, and how to fake your own death. He had even searched, how long does it take for a body to decompose in water? Equally disturbing was the discovery of a second phone. This burner phone, found inside a storage unit registered under his deceased mother's name, contained text messages that pointed to an affair with a woman named Amber Keller, a bartender from a neighboring town, 15 years his junior. The messages revealed more than romance. There were whispers of plans to leave, discussions about money, and references to starting over far away. In one chilling message sent 2 days before the murder, Amber had texted, "If you're serious, you have to let go of everything holding you back. No looking back." When confronted by police, Amber claimed she hadn't spoken to Travis since that day and had no idea what he was capable of. Still, the picture was getting clearer. Travis had motive, opportunity, and a detailed plan. But why murder his own children? That question tormented both investigators and the public. Even in the darkest criminal cases, a line is rarely crossed when it comes to children. But Travis, if guilty, had crossed it completely. Adding to the complexity was the community reaction. Half of Maple Ridge refused to believe Travis was guilty. They held vigils, plastered his photo on flyers, and argued that he must have been a victim too, possibly forced at gunpoint or suffering a breakdown. The other half wanted justice and demanded answers. Melissa's family didn't mince words. Her sister, Rachel, held a tearful press conference. "He fooled us all." Behind that smile was someone calculating, dangerous, and cold. "My sister deserved better. Those girls deserved better." Psychological profilers were brought in to help narrow the manhunt. Based on his past behavior, career in firefighting, and growing paranoia shown in his online activity, they believed Travis had been planning an escape for months, and that he likely had a hidden stash of supplies in the wilderness. As the search pushed deeper into the Tillamook forest, the clues were sparse. No new sightings, no footprints, no cell pings. It was as if the earth had swallowed him whole. But then came a break. A local hunter discovered what appeared to be a makeshift campsite several miles off-trail. So deep in the forest, it was only reachable by foot. Tents, canned food, a folding map with marked routes, and a family photo of Melissa and the girls were found pinned to a nearby tree with a hunting knife. The scene was both haunting and deliberate. Was Travis still alive, hiding in the forest? Or had he moved on? One particular detail disturbed searchers the most. A child's pink sweatshirt, believed to belong to Sadie, was folded neatly inside the tent. No blood, no signs of struggle, just carefully packed belongings, as if someone had left quietly, on purpose. And then came another twist. DNA results from the backpack found earlier confirmed that both girls' blood was present on the items, but only in trace amounts. Enough to suggest injury, but not necessarily death, which meant one horrifying possibility remained. The girls might still be alive. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. As the search intensified in the Tillamook State Forest, every rustle in the underbrush, every cracked twig underfoot became a potential signal. Was Travis Decker still out there, watching from the shadows? Or had he gone further, deeper, possibly with his daughters still alive? The discovery of the hidden campsite reignited public interest and reinvigorated the search team. But it also opened a floodgate of new fears. Could this man, once trusted by his community, really be living off the grid, deliberately eluding capture? Detective Hannah Lowell, now leading the manhunt, ordered drones to scan the wider region. Thermal imaging, aerial sweeps, ground teams combed the area inch by inch. Still, Travis remained a ghost. Meanwhile, media coverage painted a twisted portrait. The killer dad in the trees, from firefighter to fugitive, and Travis Decker, hiding in the wilderness with his daughters? His name became synonymous with betrayal, and his face, once seen smiling in family portraits, was now featured on FBI wanted posters. The public fascination grew, especially online. True crime forums buzzed with conspiracy theories. Some believed Travis had snapped due to PTSD from years on the job. Others thought the affair with Amber Keller wasn't just a fling, but a pact. A few believed Melissa and the girls had uncovered something sinister and were silenced for it. But there were more chilling ideas circulating too. That Travis was hunting. That he wasn't just hiding, but preparing to kill again. Then came the video, uploaded anonymously to a private server and traced back to a local Wi-Fi hotspot near the forest's edge. The clip was short, just 14 seconds, but deeply disturbing. It showed a hand holding a photograph of Melissa and the girls. Then, slowly, the picture was lowered to reveal a wooded path, the same path where the campsite had been discovered. A voice, low and distorted, whispered, "You came too late." Authorities couldn't verify its source, but the metadata confirmed it was recent. The realization hit hard. Travis was watching the searchers, possibly moving just beyond their reach, maybe even taunting them. Behind the scenes, law enforcement launched a strategy shift. They brought in wilderness survival experts, psychologists, and former fugitives to build a profile of how Travis might think, eat, and move. They concluded he was highly methodical. He likely had pre-planned caches of food and supplies, and if he felt cornered, he might go out in a blaze, taking his daughters with him. The FBI elevated the manhunt to Tier 1, dedicating full resources, including undercover agents, to patrol remote communities. Every cabin, gas station, and trailhead within 100 miles became a checkpoint. Still, Travis remained unseen. Then, on a cold, misty morning, a ranger patrolling a ridge came across something he thought was a tree branch, until he noticed the laces. It was a child's shoe, tangled in some bramble. Nearby, he spotted a hair tie and a juice box. DNA confirmed both items had belonged to Sadie. The forest had gone from quiet to haunted. At a press conference, Detective Lowell stated, "We believe Travis Decker is alive and on the move, and we now have reason to believe at least one child is still with him." Tension among the search teams reached new heights. Every shadow felt alive. Every bird call echoed like a warning. But then the unthinkable happened. An old man living on the outskirts of the forest came forward. He'd seen someone he described as a tall, scruffy man with hollow eyes come into his shed at night twice. Once to steal food, once to leave behind something, a drawing. The drawing was crude, done in crayon. It showed two girls standing under a tree. One was smiling. The other had tears streaming down her face. Written at the bottom in childlike handwriting were the words, "We miss you, Mommy." The man said he thought it was just a lost hiker. But now he wasn't so sure. The realization was stark. The girls were likely alive and still being moved through the forest. Searchers shifted into rescue mode. But time was running out. The weather was turning. Food supplies were likely running low. And Travis Decker, no matter how careful, couldn't hide forever. Unless that was the plan all along. The forest had become both a sanctuary and a trap. For weeks, Travis Decker had evaded one of the largest manhunts in Oregon's recent history. But now, all signs pointed to a conclusion. One that would be written in blood, secrets, and the final betrayal of a man who once vowed to protect life. As winter crept into Tillamook State Forest, the air grew colder and the terrain harsher. Helicopters hovered low. Bloodhounds scoured fresh tracks. The moment investigators found the crayon drawing from Sadie, along with the words, "We miss you, Mommy," they knew they were running out of time. Then came the break. A motion-triggered trail camera, placed along a ridge known to survivalists, captured a blurry image. A man with a beard, two smaller figures behind him. Authorities confirmed it was Travis Decker, still alive, and still accompanied by his daughters, Sadie and Mia. The picture sent shockwaves. Within hours, the search team narrowed in on a remote hunting cabin nearly 40 miles from the original campsite. The cabin was long abandoned and buried beneath moss and overgrowth. Travis had likely scouted it months before, but the fresh footprints told them he was there. They surrounded the area at dawn. Snipers took positions. Crisis negotiators readied bullhorns. Drones buzzed above the treetops. Detective Hannah Lowell, who had become personally invested in the case, stepped forward to issue the command. "Travis Decker," she shouted into the silence. "You are surrounded. Come out with your hands up. Let the girls go." There was no response. Then a sound metal scraping wood. A window creaked open. Out came a piece of torn paper, fluttering to the forest floor. A deputy retrieved it and handed it to Lowell. In thick, dark pen strokes, Travis had written, "They don't deserve this. I was trying to protect them." Before they could process it, a single gunshot echoed through the trees. The SWAT team breached. Inside, they found Travis Decker slumped against the wall, a gun beside him. His body was still warm. He had taken his own life. But in one of the back rooms, thankfully alive and unharmed, were Sadie and Mia. Both girls were thin, frightened, but responsive. They'd been fed. They had warm clothes. Travis had even left behind a handwritten journal, stuffed into a duffel bag near the door. It was filled with his twisted logic. Pages of paranoia, apologies, ramblings about betrayal and forgiveness, and one repeating phrase, "If I can't protect them from this world, I'll take them out of it." The journal painted a chilling portrait. Travis believed the world had turned against him, that his affair was a trap, that Melissa wanted to destroy him, that no one could be trusted, not family, not the courts, not society. In reality, Melissa had filed for divorce, seeking full custody after learning of the affair and discovering a hidden burner phone. There were also texts suggesting he'd become emotionally unstable. The girls, she feared, were no longer safe around him. She never got the chance to prove it. Travis killed her that night in a rage, packed the girls in the truck, and vanished into the wilderness. For weeks, he moved them from site to site, preparing for a grim final act. But something, perhaps guilt, perhaps fear, stopped him just short of killing them too. Instead, he left behind trauma, confusion, and silence. Aftermath. Sadie and Mia were placed in protective custody and later reunited with their maternal grandparents. Counselors began the long process of helping them heal. The question of what they witnessed and what they were told in those weeks remains private. Detective Lowell spoke at a press briefing days later. Her voice cracked as she said, "This wasn't just a case. It was a mirror, a reminder that monsters don't always wear masks. They wear uniforms, smile in family photos, and live right next door." The forest returned to stillness. But for the families involved and the officers who walked those trails, the echoes of Travis Decker's betrayal would never fully fade. In the end, Travis took more than a life. He took a future, shattered trust, and nearly turned two young girls into shadows of themselves. Justice came, but too late for Melissa, and for a country now grappling with another name added to the list of family annihilators. The haunting question remains: how does someone so loved become so dangerous? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more true crime story.